Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
With e-commerce off the charts, many small and growing warehouses are asking, how can I get ahead when my warehouse is barely keeping up? The answer is future-ready warehouse tech from Zebra Technologies. Warehouses can simplify and upgrade all processes, from automated inventory management to hands-free picking, with Zebra's tailored, scalable mobile solutions. They're simple and intuitive. There's never been a better time to upgrade for success with Zebra. How can your warehouse get ahead? The answer's in black and white. Get the answers at zebra.com/theanswer. That's zebra.com/theanswer.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. Today's episode, I am going to be talking to Josh Butler, and he is the CEO at Kinetic Eye. Kinetic Eye is looking at facilities such as manufacturing facilities and warehouse and distribution facilities, and taking an approach to giving you a basically additional eye, which is there in the name, at your safety and looking at where there may be occurrences and giving you further insight into safety incidents, and then also giving you further insight into helping to prevent those safety incidents. So we're going to talk to Josh about Kinetic Eye, what they do, and then a little bit about how it works and how they can really help you to improve the safety within your facility, and also kind of what the future kind of holds for them. So, Josh, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. I love the podcast. Big fan.
Definitely, yeah. Happy to have you. Definitely excited to learn more about Kinetic Eye and what it is you guys do. I myself have been warehouse manager and in charge of safety for facilities. So this is really something that is exciting to me. So I'm curious to learn more. So why don't you tell us what is Kinetic Eye and what it is exactly that Kinetic Eye does? Sure.
So super high level, what we're about is automating safety monitoring in industrial workplaces. It's what we do is we connect into existing video cameras, or if you need new video cameras, we don't have them, we can recommend cameras. They're super cheap, like $100 a pop these days.
Yeah.
We focus on warehouses, manufacturing centers, supply chains. And what the technology does is it analyzes that video footage that's usually already being collected. Mm-hmm. We use computer vision, and then we detect the risks and hazards that we see in the environment. And we kind of reflect it back to the managers, the supervisors, and the people, the workers on the floor, industrial athletes, to help them figure out how they can make the place safer.
All right, great. Yeah, it's very interesting concept, and I'm really, really intrigued by it. So you said something in there. You said computer vision. So I'm curious, can you elaborate on what that is? Because there's like I guess artificial intelligence and machine learning and things of that nature. What's the difference there?
Yeah, sure. So computer vision, you could say, is a field within AI. Mm-hmm. It's the same. It's actually been around for quite some time. Computer vision has been used for things like quality control, defect analysis, and manufacturing processes for like decades. Mm-hmm. More recently, you may have heard of like self-driving cars. Tesla uses solely computer vision to keep their cars centered on the road. myself and my co-founders, we actually met working in the self-driving car industry. I studied computer vision back in the day, a couple decades ago, and always wanted to work in the space. And so we met working at NIO on their self-driving car program. NIO, as of today, is like the fifth biggest automaker in the world. It's the biggest auto company that you've never heard of, probably. Yeah. They don't sell in the United States yet. The second biggest EV auto company behind Tesla.
Okay.
And we were basically developing the system that runs computer vision to detect all of the cars and pedestrians around the vehicle and analyze that to understand what the risk levels are. Because the number one job there is just keep the people inside and out safe. That's what we're trying to do with the self-driving car. It's and the reason we were excited about that is because it's solving one of the biggest sources of accidents, injuries, and deaths in the world. Right, hundreds of thousands of people die annually from car accidents, and we were actually we were talking to insurance companies at NIO, and we were getting ready to strike some deals with these insurance companies because if you think about it, once cars stop having accidents, the whole purpose of auto insurance kind of goes away.
Right.
It really transforms the whole industry, and we, so we're thinking about that, and we're starting to wonder, like, well, could we use computer vision somewhere else? Like, where else are people like subject to risks and dangers, and where are those where are they getting hurt, where are the fatalities, and that's when we thought, well, what if we took some of the same technology and propped it up in a factory or a warehouse and see what we could find. And that was kind of the genesis of the idea, actually, and sort of where it came from.
Interesting. Yeah. I love that. The concept came from this other idea of keeping people safe, like on the road, like you mentioned, inside and out of the cars. And, obviously within a warehouse in manufacturing, there's actually a lot of safety concerns, especially when you have forklift traffic and people going high up and racking with pallets and heavy items and all these different things. So it was really good application, I think, of that. Now, you mentioned that, you're utilizing existing video cameras and other systems that are in place. So Kinetic Eye itself is just a kind of a software platform that hooks into these things, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's right. So it's a software platform. We integrate with whatever cameras you already have in place. Okay. We work with about 95% of the brands out there. Anything that's been built in the last 10 years or 20 years usually has sort of standard MPEG compression, the standard compression that's used for cell phones and even for Netflix. We integrate with those. We process it in the cloud, and then we sort of reflect it back through this web application that we built. So it's you use your Chrome browser or your Firefox, and you can even put it up on a dashboard in the on the floor if you want to create a dashboard, so you can set up competitions to get your team focused on improving safety goals and things like that. So
interesting.
That's usually what it looks like for people who are using the system.
Gotcha. Cool. So give us some examples how that works. So it's monitoring obviously the video feeds and things of that nature, and then through computer vision, it's looking for safety incidents, as you mentioned, or things that are, I guess, potential safety hazards. But how does that work? And what's some examples of things that it'll tell you? Like what would show up on that dashboard?
Yeah, sure. So one of the key challenges that I think managers and supervisors and safety professionals have in today's world is that you can't be everywhere at once. So fundamentally, what we're doing is we're solving that. We're making it so now you can have 24/7 visibility, across all shifts, across all areas in your facility. So you really have a handle on, all the near misses and the safety observations that no one really likes to report. Frankly, it's just
Right.
It kind of interrupts the flow of work. And sometimes it's just not, people aren't necessarily incentivized to report those things. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you log into the dashboard, and you can see kind of a feed of all of the events that have been detected. You can see the trends. Are things going up? Are they going down? The things we kind of detect are things like we've detected people crawling under like a load, like a raised truck bed that's mounted on a fork truck. We've seen people skating across warehouse floors on pallet jacks. It looks fun, but it's probably not the safest thing.
No, that's not.
Forklift collisions that go unreported. It's surprising how many dents there are on those things.
Oh yeah.
I was surprised to learn that every year, 1 in 14 forklift drivers are injured on the job. I mean, I've worked in a warehouse before. I actually worked in a warehouse as like over the summers to help put myself through college. And there are dents everywhere. They're zooming around all around you. I'm stacking boxes. I don't see them coming behind me. And I was really surprised to learn that 1 in 14 forklift drivers are injured on the job every year. It's crazy. Every 7 seconds, someone's injured.
Yeah, and I think it just increases too because we're having such a higher volume of distribution centers, and the demand for forklift drivers is increasing as well. And unfortunately, through my experience, there's a lot of places that aren't necessarily training as well as they should. So it's pretty dangerous, actually, surprisingly. And sometimes even like you said, there's 1 in 14 injured, but sometimes there's also can be fatalities involved too. So it's really important.
Yeah, I mean they're heavier than cars and they're smaller than golf carts. Like they're anyway. Sounds like you already know. I mean, the other major bucket really falls into ergonomics, and this is correct lifting posture, repetitive strain, things like that. So one of our Fortune 500 customers, they're using it to just see whether people are lifting with their back and with their legs, in the power zone. Now we use something called body pose estimation. We can measure the back angle when you're lifting. We can measure the position of the arms and legs and things like that. Yeah. So that can help us with either risk assessments or with sort of that comprehensive monitoring across the facility. And I think, these are the kinds of injuries that, it actually speaks to why this team of engineers that was working in self-driving cars, why we all came together to work on this together. Because 3 of us were working on that program together. We have our CTO Michael, who is the chief architect. We have Silas Toms, who he actually has his own podcast.
Oh yeah,
he's kind of an incredible guy. He's written 3 books on data visualization. He has a podcast about mapping. He actually ran the GIS, Geoinformation Systems team at Zillow. But they joined this team because we're there are a million startups here in the Valley. These guys have been delivering enterprise software like IBM, Zillow, Neo, for decades. But they came here because there are a million startups to choose from, but how many of them are actually building something cutting edge like this that's so focused on doing something incontrovertibly good for society? Right. We're actually saving lives here. Yeah. And how do we do that? It's not just about detecting; it's about predicting. Once you have a trend and you can see, okay, there's a trend, there's a pattern here. Now we know that something has to be done here, or we're going to have an accident. And we identify those hotspots. So Silas has created like heat maps where you can see the hotspots in your facility. We have trend lines, and then we can help recommend what are the things that need to happen here in order to prevent that forklift collision that, there's just 2 forklifts denting each other today, but tomorrow maybe there'll be someone pinned in between them. How do we prevent that from happening? So maybe that looks like, putting new safety cones in, putting mirrors in, putting in, just changing the routing of forklifts, things like that. But maybe you probably wouldn't even notice that if you weren't able to have something there observing the patterns of the operation when you can't be there. So that's kind of the concept.
Yeah, definitely. I think you had a really good point there at the end about, you don't really notice patterns or things like that when you're not able to, have the eyes on it. And like you said earlier, have eyes everywhere. And I think that with the, I guess, busyness of a distribution center, and the way that things are flowing because, of high demand, especially in like e-commerce situations and things of that nature, it's difficult to take a step back and really look for those things until it's too late. So having a tool,
Totally.
having a tool like your platform with Kinetic Eye is really definitely a step forward, like you said, in trying to create something that will help really, save lives and improve worker safety, and just improve the overall work environment and give a little sense of, I guess, more comfort in the workplace, and it also kind of helps take off some of that extra burden from the managers and, kind of gets them to focus on, like you said, the places where things are really happening with those heat maps and looking at patterns and reoccurrences instead of, just waiting until something happens to do something and maybe it's too late.
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like you really have to see the patterns before you can start to predict. And then when it comes time to like what are you going to do about it? Like, maybe it's new policies, maybe it's changing the layout, things like that, of course. But there's also other kinds of things you can do, like we can help you create like rewards programs or like competitions. Like let's create a team goal where we're gonna reduce the number of near misses that or collisions that didn't result in injuries, hopefully, on a weekly basis. Like now you actually have a system that can kind of be your like record keeper for a competition like that, and it doesn't have to be based on number of injuries anymore, which hopefully is lower than you want for a program like that. But in our case, it could be like, let's make sure that like no one's speeding coming through the thoroughfare, or that everyone honks before they go through. Right. And then you can use that to develop a culture that's proactive about this. And I think that's really what it's about in the end, right? Right,
definitely, yeah. Yeah, and I think that, like you said, even though, you can put all these tools in place and everything, the culture is what really will drive this safety. But I think being able to point out these things, and even I think showing, as someone that's been involved in safety and managed safety in a facility, you always try to make an impact on people when it comes to safety. So, I always kind of pull up the top 10 worst forklift accidents, right? To make people kind of wake up and realize.
YouTube is full of some scary, scary stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think being able to also now show these patterns and say, like, look, you guys are going too fast, like really in this area, and like look at this pattern or whatever the case may be, the heat map. It kind of makes them realize like what is really, really happening and the importance of making sure they're doing the right thing. We're looking at safety incidents and preventing them. Even as we try to do preventative measures and prevent them, there's always going to be something that comes up. And, one of the things, I guess I've been lucky to work for a company that's very, very diligent about safety and tries to be as proactive as possible. So pretty intensive in terms of investigating and writing up reports and seeing what we can do for preventative measures when something happens. So I saw on your website and caught my attention was this incident forensics and review feature that's within Kinetic Eye. So tell me a little bit about how does that work, and how can that kind of expand on when something does happen? How can it expand on really understanding what happened in that incident?
Yeah. I mean, so I think maybe the best way to answer that is, we're in the business of helping you monitor, and that's like the detection of these near misses and safety events, review those events, which is the forensics here, and then preventing them, right? So, what does it look like when you are reviewing? So, as a manager or a safety manager, we can send you like a list of the top events every day. You can get this in your dashboard. You can get it in your inbox at the end of the day. These are the top events that we've detected in your facility, and you can just like click right in and see them. You can see the video. You can see it from multiple points of view. You can classify, and you can set the severity. You can flag it to come back to it soon. You can comment on those there. So we actually drive collaboration around these to drive a conversation about what we can do to address this in the future. You can share that with other people in the organization. You can even package it up and then share it with your insurance company. Because one thing that's really important is that, like, if someone does get hurt on the job, that you get that that you inform the insurance company as soon as possible, so they get access to those workers' comp benefits, and it doesn't turn into something worse than it already is. They can get the medical care they need, right? So it helps with all of that. You can also like maybe like let's say we I don't know, detected some property damage or something like that. You can use the tool to look at it from different angles. You can see patterns of incidents that have happened in that area over the last like 30 days, 90 days or whatever, to see if this is a pattern more than just like something that just happened. Those are all kinds of things we can do to help you, like, not just look at the incident at hand, but also sort of like how does it fit into the broader workflow, and how does it fit into the pattern of the operation, right? So we can make any corrective actions that need to be made, right, to address it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. It sounds like it would really give you some more insight and focus on what happened, and maybe even like the cause as well, because that's always kind of a little bit of the foggy area. Yeah. One thing I like to say is that data solves all arguments. If you have a video of what actually happened, it's not you can't argue about what happened. So it's just this is it. We have now we know, and we know like what action needs to be taken in order to address in the future. Definitely, yeah. I think it's a really cool platform and concept. So is it? I mean, how are some of the, I guess, companies that are using Kinetic Eye now? I mean, what kind of improvements have they made based on what they've seen through the data?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we've seen. We've seen people falling out of open dock doors where there wasn't a trailer there. I mean, it's like surprising. It's not surprising, but it's like it happens more than you might think. Yeah. Obviously, like that led to some training and some policy changes. They added in like chains and gates. We've seen forklift collisions where it led to just changing the routing. Honestly. Yeah. We've seen. I think I mentioned someone crawling under a live load. Forklift. That was a one-on-one coaching situation. There were certainly better ways to do what needed to be done. There's also stuff around like very like precarious loads. And loads are falling off of forklifts. There's usually a reason. In the case we saw, there was they just needed to wrap it. Essentially, they needed to wrap the loads effectively before they get lifted. So like those ended up that was a policy change around
Gotcha.
how they load certain types of things.
Okay.
Those are a few examples.
Yeah, interesting. I'm curious, do you ever, like the people that are on the platform, is there ever like a look at everybody's data like together? I'm curious, if you guys ever release like we're seeing, in the past.
Like benchmarking?
Yeah, I guess like in the past 3 months, over all of your customers, like you're seeing like, we have this kind of incident is like on the rise. And
one area we did do was around social distancing. We did a little bit of a research project around that, and we saw that most of the problems were managers. And it was a pretty easy thing to solve, honestly. Once they understood what they were doing, that was they're also most often to break like PPE rules, like not wearing vests on the floor, things like that.
Yeah.
That was interesting. We definitely saw that the like mask wearing and social distancing got better over time once we were able to reflect that data back to our customers.
Yeah. It's a shame. There's some
Good
managers
question.
that think they're above the rules, but that doesn't really help drive the culture. Yeah.
Yeah, I have more of an optimistic view that they're more like oblivious to their own behavior. And at least that was the story I got.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, it sounds like Kinetic Eye, is really kind of the, like you mentioned earlier, kind of the cutting edge and the future of this kind of safety improvement and being able to really wrap your hands around safety, especially in huge facilities as well. I think it is really helpful because you mentioned like you can't have eyes everywhere, and this really kind of helps you to kind of close it in a little bit and focus on those areas where the focus needs to be, instead of finding out too late, as we mentioned before. So, Kinetic Eye, what is like the future of Kinetic Eye? Where does Kinetic Eye go from here, and what's kind of the plans there?
Yeah, so we do work with a number of partners, like some of the biggest workers' comp insurers in the U.S. And actually in Japan as well. And we're excited about showing how we are making our customers safer and what that can mean for their insurance premiums.
Right.
Especially these days, like not only is it making it harder for people to travel between facilities and like ensure that culture and standards are being met across those facilities. Like now they can actually kind of use this more to be present while being remote. And the same thing applies to like insurance risk managers. The risk managers at insurers, like they can't visit facilities very much anymore either. And so we can kind of help them provide some value add for their customers there. We also recently partnered with an EHS software solution. We're working with SAP.
Okay.
Actually, just had a conference where they announced the partnership last month.
Oh, well,
and yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, one of the challenges with EHS software is that it's only as good as the data you put into it. And so what we're able to do is we're able to solve one of those big data issues, which is how do you get enough of those near misses and safety observations?
Yeah, the collection. Yeah.
And the data about the incidents themselves with good forensics and good understanding of the root cause, so that you can take the right corrective action. So it's a natural partnership, and I expect we'll be making more of those with the EHS systems, because we're happy to integrate with them. We think that they're we don't need to replace them. Maybe a small operation doesn't need a full EHS platform, and they could use ours. But we're happy to integrate and just sort of be be the eyes and ears that populate that. Yeah, I mean, we're selling primarily to like the Fortune 500 companies with like multiple facilities, helping them benchmark and set standards across the facilities. But especially in connection with their insurance companies, we can work with small companies that do value safety and want to protect their workers. So like we can really work across the board there. Our mission is just to save as many lives and make sure people can go home safely at the end of the day. Like that's what we're here for. And this technology is, it's just really exciting what we've been able to accomplish, and we see the hardware and what's possible with the software is just making leaps and bounds. Literally, like there were months, if not years. So we do have a lot in the roadmap that we'll be excited to share with our customers in 2021. But I don't want to give away I don't want to let the cat out of the bag quite yet.
Gotcha. All right. Got it. So, yeah, I mean, that's a really, really great mission that you have. So, I mean, it's what you're doing, I think, is good work, and it's only going to improve the environment for workers in these different facilities. So you mentioned there a lot about kind of the insurance companies. Are you seeing, or maybe is there potential that companies can take the data that you're collecting and show insurance companies that their incident rates have like decreased, or their incident rates are low, and actually end up getting their premium reduced in a way? Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean the most basic is like you're safe. Like once you've installed the system, your injury rates go down. The losses go down, so your premiums go down. But we can also help you like write that story. If you have like cold hard data that shows not just injury rates going down, but like maybe even in the last like 2 or 3 months, there's no more speeding. There's no more, like everyone's wearing all the appropriate PPE. There are no more near misses. That's powerful, right?
Yeah.
So we work with a lot of brokers as well, and we're helping them get the best deals with their insurance companies. So, that's an exciting area for us.
Definitely, yeah, that's really good to know. I think that helps improve the case for implementing as well. So
yeah, I mean, we're all about driving safety by driving ROI for sure. It always comes down to like, how do I make the case internally? I mean, it isn't just money, right? It's like an improvement in safety. Like it doesn't just prevent injuries and save money. It's a brand thing too. It's a reputation thing. It's a reputation around your product. It's a reputation thing around like being able to recruit people to work there. No one wants to work at a company where they hear through their community that there are accidents happening.
Yes.
So we're really here to we know that we can create value for our clients up and down the board, and from the people who are benefited from being able to go home safe at the end of the day, all the way up to the CEOs. Worried about his quarterly earnings call with his investors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's safety shouldn't really have a price tag on it, but unfortunately that becomes the case. So, but I think that what you're doing with Kinetic Eye, I mean, it's really great. And I say it again. I mean, I think it's really good work, and it's something that's going to really help improve. And I think it's the future of looking at safety, and I'm really happy that we could connect and could learn more about this as well. So Josh, I want to thank you for being on the show. How can people find out more information about Kinetic Eye?
Thanks, Kevin. It's been awesome being here. I'd say the easiest way is you can email me directly at josh@kineticeye.com. Kinetic.io. That's KINETICEYE.io.
Okay.
That would be that's probably the best way. And check out our website to find us there. Check me out on LinkedIn. I think you can see some of the work the team's doing and follow along there.
All right, great. And we'll put all that information on thenewwarehouse.com as well for reference. So, Josh, thank you again for being on the show.
That's been great. Thanks so much, Kevin.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.